rolling, check. Calm and sway off the hardwood. Pump bacon, rim shaking, chilling with. I be rolling out off the hardwood, straight.
Coming up on Off the Hardwood, Raptors point guard Chris Childs tees it up with Paul Jones. Chris talks about his long journey to the NBA, playing on both sides of the Hudson River, participating in the 1999 NBA Finals, and coming to Toronto to play for the Raptors.
Off the hardwood. Off the hardwood.
Welcome back, and Chris, let's talk about New Jersey now. You spent some good years there. It was the place where you cracked into the league, and everybody talks about the big contract you earned in Jersey, but you did earn it because you did play well in those 2 years there. In the second year, you averaged almost 13 points a game.
I felt I did, and I think a lot of people took notice of my hard work, my desire, my competitiveness, my fire, my aggressiveness. It was just the way I've always played the game, and I think people took notice of that, and I had a good year, averaged almost 13 points, almost 8 assists, and I think the way that I played against New York, those 4 times we played them during the season, showed them that, maybe we should take a chance on this guy.
Well, they took a chance, and they gave you a pretty nice contract. How difficult was it for you to leave New Jersey knowing they were the ones that gave you the shot? And you had some guys there that you were close with, and you still remain. I know you still kind of poked the odd jab at Benoit Benjamin. You're still tight with him. How tough was it to leave New Jersey and go across the tunnel to New York?
It was tough because when I first got there from the CBA, those guys accepted me from the beginning because of how I approached the game. And then once they met me on a personal level away from the court, it even grew even more. And Jason Williams is one of my best friends. And the thing that he's going through right now is really, not only hard for him and his family, it's hard for guys like myself who are really close to him. And leaving there, it's like, it was unfinished business. Mm-hmm. It was like being in the CBA. I didn't want to leave the CBA without winning a championship. And I felt we had the core guys in Jersey to do that. But the 2 years I spent there, I also knew it was a business. And they weren't willing to do what I thought I deserved. Mm-hmm. And New York stepped to the table.
So you go across the river now. You're playing, and the two teams are vastly different in the eyes of the media. The Knicks will always get the attention, and the Nets will always be seen as kind of like the weaker sibling. Always. Now you go to this pressure cooker and this microscope that is New York. How difficult was that?
Initially it was tough, but being in Jersey and spending a lot of time in New York, you kind of get a grasp of what to expect. And I've always been one to say, you talk to the media and they have a job to do, so you do it, let them do it, and they won't bother you as much. But just playing there, I enjoyed it. It was difficult because they wanted me to play a different part than I was used to playing from the CBA in Jersey, and I had to make that adjustment. I think I did the first year, but the second year was tougher because we didn't make it as far in the playoffs as we should have, and then the whole controversy of who should start, who should go to the bench thing, and it's part of basketball.
Now, you guys certainly won. I can think of the lockout shortened season, how well you guys played. New York, an 8th seed, and you make it to the NBA Finals. Tell us a little bit about your finals experience and what you draw from that even now in Toronto.
Well, the thing about that team is that when you're an 8 seed, when the playoffs start, it's a new season.
Right.
So it doesn't matter you're a 1 seed or 8 seed. It only matters because of the home court. But you're all equal, and we took that mentality into the playoffs and felt that there was nobody can beat us. If Patrick wouldn't have got hurt, and if LJ wasn't hobbling, if I wasn't hobbling, I think we would have gave San Antonio a run for their money. But they were just too big and too good. You just tip your hat off to them. Because I saw David Robinson in Hawaii. I'm coming out of the golf course, and I looked, and I'm like, God, I just saw you. I don't want to see you again. But I congratulate them, and they deserve it because they played well.
Do you ever poke a jab at AD in the locker room there? Because when you think about it, Indiana was the team that you had. I mean, there have been so many great battles between New York and Indiana in the playoffs. the fact that you guys finally now get past Indiana, and they were expected to win that series. You ever give AD a little jab here and there, buddy?
We talk about it, you know, sometimes. We watch some old tape, and I tell him how I fouled him real hard, and, you know, we go back and forth. But those are good years. Those are growing years for both of us. And I think going through those type of games gives us an advantage playing here because we know what to expect.
Now, in New York, you know, the media spotlight really shines on the Knicks. I think the quote from Charles Oakley, somebody asked him how the media was treating him in Toronto, and he said, well, this is like kindergarten compared to what happens in New York. Do you feel that pressure in New York, with pressure to succeed because you are the Knicks in such a big market?
Well, it's always pressure because that's the mecca of basketball. That's where everybody wants to play. There's a lot of history there. It's hard not having that pressure. You look up at the Raptors and you got, you know, Willis Reed and Clyde Frazier, David Bush, and all those guys, and you see them at the games all the time.
Right,
and they're
right.
always coming and talking to you and interacting. So it's always tough. But why do you play the game? Yeah. You want that kind of pressure. Right. And I think we kind of fed off each other to help each other get through good times and bad times.
Now, you come to Toronto, and I remember, and we're going to get more into the Toronto thing in a minute, but I remember the look on your face. It was a Friday night that you were traded to Toronto, and you weren't in uniform, but you showed up, and you were all decked out, and the look on your face was like you'd been let out of jail.
Yeah, it was like starting all over. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Canada before. Played 2 years in Calgary when they had the WBL, World Basketball League, and then coming in and just seeing the excitement of the fans and the players, a new environment. I wanted to be a part of that. When they talked about the trade, I didn't put my head down. I'm like, dang, you know, why am I going there? No, I wanted to come here, and I saw what this team could do and what they could become, and I just wanted to be a part of things like that.
Chris, culturally, how do you explain to people, you know, the difference and the acceptance that a lot of guys have told me they feel in Canada that sometimes they don't feel in their own country? How do you explain that?
You can't. You have to come here and see it firsthand. 'Cause I tell guys all the time, people here treat you totally different. They don't see you and say, well, I can't approach this guy, or I can't interact with this guy because of your color, your height. It doesn't matter. They treat everybody the same, and it's been a great experience for me. I enjoy it.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk to Chris Childs about life in Toronto with the Raptors. We're going to head out to the driving range because the reason why we're here is I hear he's a good golfer, so I'm going to get a look at Tiger Woods firsthand myself.
That's Wagger too, and I'm a little rusty.